Coming up next, we continue and, in fact, finish our amazing first annual Bookening Fantasy Draft. Hey everybody, welcome to the Bookening. I am excited. This is part 2. We are picking up. We had a big cliffhanger. Our listeners have been sitting on their edges. What am I trying to say? They've been sitting
the
on
edges of their seats.
The edges of their seats now for a whole week, waiting to hear the exciting conclusion, probably conjuring up their own stories.
You think anybody's actually been sitting there the entire week?
Yeah.
Just waiting?
I think our entire listenership.
They're wondering, how's the bell going to fit into the story, Brandon?
Yep. Because these people love great literature, and so they're wondering about it. Now, picking up, we had a big cliffhanger. Our listeners have been sitting on their edges. What am I trying to say? They've been sitting
the
on
edges of their seats.
The edges of their seats now for a whole week, waiting to hear the exciting conclusion, probably conjuring up their own stories.
You think anybody's actually been sitting there the entire week?
Yeah.
Just waiting?
I think our entire listenership.
They're wondering, how's the bell going to fit into the story, Brandon?
Yep. Because these people love great literature, and so they're wondering about it. Now, if people don't know, we're doing a fantasy draft where we draft characters and items and things from the novels and stories that we read this year. Let me just quickly recap the rules. I know people will probably have listened to the first part. I will try not to linger here, but it's nice to know. You get 12 draft picks. We've each picked 6 so far. And we'll recap those in a minute here, too. I know it's been a week, folks. At least one of them must be a setting. A setting constitutes all the physical locations and accoutrements of one book. A setting does not include any major or named characters. All other picks can be characters or objects from any books we've read this year. If you pick an object that exists in another player's setting, it is deleted from their setting. Objects maintain all attributes, no matter the setting. In other words, if you steal Harry Potter's wand and put it into your Jane Austen setting, the wand still conjures Patronuses. It can still kill people. It can still do all the wand stuff.
That's an idea.
That is an idea.
Darcy with a wand?
Darcy with a wand. Actually, I think Darcy with a wand would be a pretty boring good digger. Good digger. Good doer is what I'm trying to find. You may not steal an object that is integral to the setting. Integral is defined as fundamentally affecting the nature of the setting. Your characters must begin somewhere in the character trajectory that underwent in the book. If you take Emma Woodhouse, you can start her out as Brad Emma. You can finish her as Redeemed Emma, but you can't do Baby Emma as much as we might love to, and you can't do 40-year-old Emma who's got 3 kids and is completely different from the Emma. You could maybe age her up in your story, but you can't start her there. Everybody clear on the rules?
Very clear.
Yep. All right, guys, let's go ahead and recap. Brandon, your amazing novel, Build a Novel, so far contains the following elements.
Well, we start in Midnight's children's setting. Mm-hmm. We have Tyrion and the Dawn Treader. Mm-hmm. For some reason, the bell. We have the Looking Glass, which still looks like the Cooking Glass. Mm-hmm. And we have the Old Man in the Sea. There you go. Jake, your novel so far?
I've got Queen Jadis. I've got some magic rings. I've got Hal. I've got Caspian. He's going to be Henry V, let's be honest.
Yeah, well, you could have him be Reprobate Hal. I don't know.
Caspian, Puddleglum, and the Lady of the Green Kirtle.
And then we've got what, Nathan?
Well, my novel, I'm guessing publishers will be breaking down my door to get this bad boy written, and I'm prepared to write it. It's got the following elements, the following homogeneous elements. Jane Eyre, Reepicheep the Mouse, Aslan, the Cheshire Cat, Holden Caulfield, and Susan Pevensey. Brandon, you are up for your first...
You both have decided to save your setting until last. That's interesting.
Yeah, well, we don't want people to steal things from our setting, probably.
Yeah.
No, I don't care. Who wants to steal anything from Midnight's children's setting?
I'm going to take the spittoon, maybe. What do you do then?
The pickle bats.
You'll show up here stupid now.
Come on, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, I need some villains, and so I think that even though I didn't go for it right away, I do think that Tash is a good idea. I think he fits in. He's going to be at least a sub-villain here.
Okay. Wow, Tash is relegated to sub-villain. Interesting.
I think I know who my villain is.
But it was more important to get that sub-villain?
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe Brendan's villain is already there. Maybe it's the old man.
That's right. It's the Marlin.
All right, Jake.
It's the Dawn Treader.
It's the Dawn Treader, yeah.
It's C.S. Lewis.
And no, you cannot draft authors.
I am going to draft Edmund.
Spencer?
Yeah.
Pevensey.
The poet.
Oh. Good idea.
I'm going to draft Eustace.
Okay.
And
Conradin from Shredney Vashtar.
Oh, my God. I don't understand what you're doing, but okay.
My novel is going to make sense.
Is it?
Yeah. And it's going to be good. It's going to be a novel that people want to read.
I trust you, Nathan.
Thank you. It's Jake's again.
It's Jake's
mine.
turn. He's thinking.
That's okay.
I want Mr. Wentworth.
Captain Wentworth, you mean?
Captain
Yes,
Wentworth.
because there might be a Mr. for all I remember.
From Persuasion?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to, I guess.
No, they don't.
Not the most inspiring of the heroes from that thing, but not a bad one.
I think if I actually want him. The Mask of the Red Death. I want the Red Death.
You can pick that. That could be your main villain. Imagine a team up between Tash and the Red Death.
That is interesting.
They can do a lot of damage.
No. Okay. Queen of Hearts. You already took Holden Caulfield, so he can't be my villain.
You can get...
You won't let me take the spirit beings from the Willows.
No, we specifically talked about that earlier.
No, not without me.
Yeah.
I can't do Stanley from a streetcar. He's not really that much of a villain.
You can do him if you want.
I don't want him.
You can do Blanche DeBois.
That's true. I could.
You could do, John Proctor?
Yeah.
All kinds of things you could do.
No, I think it would be interesting to see a matchup. So the only thing that's changed would be Salim. But as far as just conniving, sort of mastermind wickedness going on, Shiva.
Shiva?
Yep.
Very good.
Shiva with Tash on his side.
Woo.
It's a little bit frightening.
That's pretty frightening, yeah.
Especially in the world of Midnight's Children.
Yeah, I don't want, Tash in a world without any Christian morality.
Yeah. Yes.
Scary world.
It is a scary world.
You get another pick, Brandon.
Oh, I do. Do I?
Oh, you do.
Okay. I need some comic relief. I need somebody who can lighten stuff up a bit. So, you already took Puddleglum. I was going to go for Puddleglum, but you took Puddleglum from me, so I am going to take not Falstaff. Not the weird dead guy from The Outsider. Stanley's pretty funny, but I'm not going to go for him. Trumpkin. Interesting. Very interesting. Go ahead, Jake.
I want the spell book from Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Interesting.
Good choice. Probably a better choice than the bell.
Oh, man. Brandon. The bell. Let's see here. Well, all right. I've got 4 picks left here.
Make them wise, Nathan.
I will.
Make them count.
I will.
How long do these these summaries of our novel have to be?
As long as they need to be. Oh, boy. What do I want to do here?
Starting to get slim.
Yeah. A lot of the good stuff's been taken here.
Yeah. Look at mine. I've got so much of the good stuff.
Okay, boy. Jake's really been stacking his deck with villains and heroes.
It's almost like he knows how a good story works.
Almost.
I have no plan. My plan was basically...
Throw them all together and see what happens.
Everybody in...
Loves Raymond?
Yes, brilliant. Thanks. Great contribution.
You're welcome.
There used to be the argument, and it's still an argument in like a basketball draft or something like that. Do you pick the best available player in the draft, regardless of his position, or do you pick to the needs of your team at the time?
Right.
Yeah.
You're just grabbing heavyweights, huh?
In most drafts, it's flawed logic to go with the needs of your team. What you want to do is you just want to take the best available player.
Huh.
And you can build around him, or you can use him as a trade piece. But if you pass up Luka Doncic because you need a big man and you're going to pick DeAndre Ayton, which I know you guys don't get these references, but that's okay. Somebody out there will. Then you've made a huge mistake because Luka Doncic is a generational player. If you pass up Michael Jordan to pick
Luka Doncic.
Luka may be right there.
With Michael Jordan?
Did I introduce
By the
us?
time it's done. I don't know.
My name is Nathan Albertson, humble and obedient host. That's Brandon, scholar who's a baller of reading. That's Jake, pastor who's a master of reading.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, I feel like an idiot. I want to get this right.
About Luka Doncic? Can I draft Michael Jordan?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Not unless we read a book about him.
Michael Jordan was selected 3rd overall in his draft, and Sam Bowie went ahead of him. And Sam Bowie was a center, and he was picked by a team that needed a center. Now, how dumb would you feel having passed over Michael Jordan because you needed a center? If you had Michael Jordan,
you don't need a center.
You can build around Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Right? So you just take Michael Jordan. You don't pass him up.
That's dumb, yeah. It's true. So you took Queen Jadis. That's your Michael Jordan.
Wanted a strong villain, man.
It's a good choice, actually. I'm not making fun of it.
No, it's a good choice. It is a good choice.
I guess the one we could make fun of is Jane Eyre.
You'll see. I've got plans for Jane.
I think you do.
All right. I am going to go ahead and... Oh, I'm still not sure what I want. Oh, boy. Oh, man, I could choose the setting of The Outsider. Get that, that underground castle or whatever.
You'd also get an above ground castle.
Yeah, it's actually not that bad of a setting. I'd get a cemetery, a nice little revelry hall, and a mirror.
There's some things that could happen in there.
Yeah, there's some things.
Throw them all in the Mask of the Red Death, and you've got yourself some sort of horror scenario going.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Or I could choose the setting of, excuse me. I could choose the setting of witness for the prosecution and do a little courtroom drama.
That would be interesting. Reaper Cheap's on trial.
That would be fun.
Aslan's the lawyer. He's like the Atticus Finch character.
Aslanicus. No, it doesn't work. Azicus? No, it doesn't.
Holden would often obviously be the spunky defense or guy who's against the defense.
Prosecutor. Obviously, the spunky prosecutors are known for their spunkiness. Yeah. I am going to go ahead and take none other than...
Yeah? You got to do this again right after, too, Nathan.
Peter
the High King.
Sorry, Jake.
I was either going to go for him or the spell book next.
Talk about
I went for the spell
Michael
book.
Jordan.
I chose poorly.
Yeah, I thought that Peter was on your list. Kind of seems of a theme with what you're doing.
Michael Jordan.
I did it. Do. And what else do I want? Let me go ahead and get...
You know you want him.
I'll take Shredney Vashtar.
Of course you will.
His thoughts were red thoughts, Brandon.
Oh, this novel.
My novel's going to be great.
I'm looking forward to seeing you make it work, Nathan.
I don't exactly have an idea, but I have kind of an idea. I've got the kernel of an idea that I'm just trusting can blossom into a wonderful novel. If you're paying attention, folks, Brandon and Jake both have 3 picks left, and I have 2 picks left. Jake has still not picked a setting. Neither have I.
I want Dr. Cornelius.
Dr. Cornelius. Interesting choice.
You have to have some sort of wisdom in there.
This is my Van Helsing.
Yeah. Good choice. I'm going to go for the Red Death.
The Red Death.
Yeah. And then I'm going to go for the wolf-slaying sword of King Peter.
The wolf-slaying sword of King Peter.
Yeah. His sword.
That might put a bit of a damper on my plans, but that's okay.
It's fine.
Jake?
You'll make do.
King Frank.
King Frank. Nicely done.
Remind me who King Frank was.
The cabbie.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
He's pretty great.
It's a good choice.
Oh, man, these are my last 2 choices.
Yeah, it's over for you.
It's over for me.
Brandon's the only one who can thwart your setting.
Yeah.
Because I've got to choose a setting now.
That's right. Wow. So, okay, I might as well declare my setting. Doesn't really matter what order I do it in. So my setting will be...
The Willows.
No, it will be the silver chair.
Good choice. I thought about the silver chair. That was on my list.
And my final object and or character will be...
Man, Sredni Vashtar come crawling out of that fire world.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, this is tough. This is tough. I will go for... I don't think she's on the... Surprisingly, a little bit. Not on the board yet. Lucy.
Okay.
And I will take the Willows.
Interesting. I was not expecting...
All right, folks. This is not taken... This has been quick. But Brandon, your final choice.
This has been quick. How long has this episode been going?
Less than 20 minutes so far.
Less than 20 minutes. It's just going to be a fast episode.
It might be a fast episode, but that's okay.
It's a Merry Christmas episode.
It's a Merry Christmas
Merry
episode.
Christmas episode. Unless I make my choice right here, take 30 minutes.
Yeah.
As I ponder all of your options and thoughts, what could I take from you?
You could take the chair.
You could take the silver chair.
That's an interesting choice.
You could take the boat from the Willows.
So they have nothing. They just have to kind of jump from island to island.
Yep. He's got.
The first thing they would do is go buy a new boat.
Yeah, but that has to be in your story.
now that whole boat buying adventure is chapter 2.
Plus, you've got magical traveling rings, so you can do whatever you want. But
yeah, that's true. That's true.
You take.
What could I do with a silver chair?
You could take the corpse out of the water in the Willows.
Yeah, the otter,
the otter corpse thing.
Yeah,
you could take my silver chair.
What would I do with your silver chair?
Bind Tyrion to it.
It was like his old man.
Trumpkin.
No, Tyrion wasn't.
Or Shiva. Oh, that's an interesting.
What about the outsider? You could.
I'm going to take the silver chair.
You're going to take the silver chair from the silver chair?
I am.
So it'll just be the blank.
Hey, you've got a wonderful world to work in. It was going to be my second choice. If somebody grabbed the Willows, I was going to go for the silver chair.
Yeah, the silver chair.
So
that was going to be my choice, and it had nothing to do with the silver chair itself. No, it was just the world.
Silver chair is just a cool book with cool settings.
Okay,
Lucy's vial and Susan's horn were two objects that I wondered if anybody would take.
Oh yeah,
I thought about them both. I was early on going to pick them both, but I got so many other things that I actually didn't want a magical heal everybody solution.
Now, we said that, like, for example, does Lucy come with her vial? I was kind of assuming Peter had his sword until Brandon stole it.
Sword. I assumed that Peter had his sword, but I didn't assume that Lucy had her vial. And I guess the reason is...
If I was to start Lucy at a certain point in her trajectory, she would.
Which then means you could take Peter's sword back. I have to do something else.
No, I can't. Peter's sword just got retconned out of existence in my novel. I can't have Peter's sword.
That specific special sword did.
I could get a
different
caliber for all you.
So Lucy's. So I had not assumed that the horn or the vial would go with either of those characters, and the reason was they often don't have them, or have to find them, or come across them, or they get broken, or they get used up, or the.
Yeah, I'm not sure what rule to put in place. When
Lucy and Susan show up in Narnia, they don't automatically have. They don't have them in England, and they don't automatically have them.
But they always had to be given them.
Well, here's a question. Like, if Harry Potter was on the table, would he come with his wand?
Yes.
But he doesn't have it at the beginning of the novel, and he has to get it, and sometimes it's not with him.
I don't know why I want to make this. I don't want to take something from you, but I feel like any of the soldiers, their swords come with them. It's part of their whatever. Somebody like Harry Potter, his wand is... His sword is part of what makes Harry cool.
I agree.
And so I'll give you Lucy's cordial, but I do think there's a difference there, and I also think there's a difference with the horn.
Well, they did go through decades of reign where those two items were associated with those characters in a way that Harry's wand, or we just don't happen to read about those days as much. But there's every Narnian, Lucy would be like the vile person, and
except even then, she didn't bring it. Like at the end of her trip, or at the end of when they were hunting the white stag, she's like, "Oh, I didn't bring my cordial." Huh.
That's true. Well, I'm not committed either way. I don't need them.
You don't need the cordial?
No, I don't.
I think you can have the cordial.
If you'd start her in this certain part of her story, then you get it.
All right, I'll take
the cordial.
Take the cordial. Do I get the horn? Because I've got Susan too.
If you want it.
Sure.
All right, I'm going to take both of them. We'll come up with a rule for next year that'll help define this. And then if it comes up, like Puddlegum has his walking staff, Lady of the Green Kirtle has her magic powder, we all get...
I mean, if it's Susan with nylons, then no.
Does the Lady of the Green Kirtle... did he steal the chair from the Lady of the Green Kirtle or from the setting of the silver chair?
Well, we can't have two silver chairs floating around.
No, I'm just hypothetically, who did he steal it from? Did he steal it from me or you?
I would think the setting. because the Lady of the Green Kirtle...
It's her magic chair that she uses to bind Brilliant.
She can make another one.
I can see an argument both ways. Well, we need to come up with a rule for next year. For this year, I suggest we be generous and give people...
What they have.
Let's say...
Jadis has her wand.
Handheld items. How about, for this, the purposes of this year, handheld traveling items that someone might have on them can come with them.
Okay.
So Jadis will get her wand. Hal can have a sword if you want. Caspian.
Does Jadis's wand work in the world of the Willows?
Yes, because we that, I think, in my mind at least, was established because we said, and I quote, objects maintain all attributes no matter the setting.
But what if it's an object that loses its potency in universe in a...
Oh, so you're saying this is kind of an exception because in the novel, her magic doesn't work.
In the novel, when she's in our world, or her wand doesn't work. Is the world of the Willows the same world as the world of Peter and Lucy and Frank and Diggory and Polly's England?
I think we might want to have more strict rules in play next year. I think for this year, you can decide whether to make it easier or harder for yourself.
Okay. So now we have to come up with a story with...
Yeah, how's this going to work, Nathan?
We will jump forward in time in the podcast and people won't hear anything. All right, folks, we're going to jump forward in time and we will tell you our stories. It's possible I may have miscalculated. All right, guys, we are back. We have set a timer for 10 minutes, and we are now back. The listener won't hear any of those minutes because all they would hear is us furiously typing and or scribbling, figuring out the great outlines, the beginnings of these wonderful novels. I guess we'll go ahead and go in the draft order. So, Brandon, going to read us or tell us the story of your novel?
Why do I have to go first?
Because we're just going in draft order. That's the rules. All right, Brandon.
Well, I mean, obviously, my book's going to open with Tyrion. And he's still young before he becomes, well, he doesn't ever become a powerful king, but you don't know, he might be able to in my world because he's about to be taken out of his world because, when do I have to do this?
Yes.
Okay.
Brandon, this novel's going to be great.
All right. It opens up.
Sell it, man. I'm an agent. Me and Jake are agents. We're book agents. We are going to, we will either buy this novel and give you $1 billion.
This is still in rough shape, guys. But the way I envision he gets into Midnight's Children, that world, is through the looking glass, of course. He comes upon the looking glass. Can I do that?
Can you enter the setting of your book by your setting?
Well, I mean, can I have him be in his original setting and come into my setting?
Yeah, we'll give it to you.
Because that's one thing I wasn't sure about.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do that. If I can do that, then we're game.
Okay.
All right.
We'll give it to you. Why not?
You'll give that to me. So he's in
but
his
don't
setting.
start bringing everything from that setting.
No, nothing. That's
don't
it.
Don't take advantage of our liberality.
That's
here.
over.
Okay.
Because he ends up in Midnight's Children, and where he is in the pickling room. Okay. And there's a silver chair in the pickling room. And bound to the silver chair is Shiva.
Oh, wow.
And Shiva immediately starts trying to convince him to let him go, to unbind him, that he needs to stop this great evil, and these two men, this old man and his little dwarf follower, have bound him, and every day they come to check on him and bring him food and water, but this is moments slim, and he needs to let him go now. He needs to unbind him now. And it's a tense moment, and Shiva's using all his manipulative abilities to do it, and of course Tyrion unbinds him.
He buys it.
Yeah, he buys it, and Shiva escapes. And at that moment, Trumpkin and the old man in the sea walk in, and they ask Tyrion, "What have you done? What have you done? You've released him, and we bound him here because he's determined to unleash this great evil with this bell that's in the middle of the jungle."
Yeah.
And so, of course, this leads into a chase with them trying to get Shiva before he can get to the bell. But guess what?
Spellbinding stuff. Go ahead.
Guess what?
Yeah.
They fail. And Shiva gets to the bell. Not quite sure how. It'd have to be a great moment where, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But anyways, he strikes the bell, and out of the bell, because of the bell getting struck, Tash and the Red Death awaken.
Oh, wow. All right. This story just got pretty cool.
Yeah. And Shiva, of course, uses Tash and the Red Death to then unleash havoc over India and to become kind of like Jafar, ruler of India, with Tash and with the Red Death. And there's all these horrible things with the Red Death wreaking havoc on the poor, poverty-stricken India. And, you have the Red Death in the metaphor of all that. Poe gets to paint with a broader brush in India with the Red Death. It's where he belongs.
Yeah.
And Tash is sitting there kind of like, the Ghostbusters, the queen at the end. She has the little dogs. Tash is kind of like the dog for Shiva, his protective force that keeps him safe. Somehow, I don't know if it's a legend or what, or some sort of other thing, because it's magical realism. They know that there's one sword that can actually defeat Shiva, but they have to find it, and it's in the jungle. And so there's this scene where they get on the Dawn Treader, which is, of course, the old man in the sea's boat, and they go into the jungle. Of course.
On a ship.
Yeah, on a ship. It's a small ship. The Dawn Treader was never huge.
No, never.
And so they go into the jungle, and
Magical
there's all
realism.
Yeah. There's all these terrifying things, obviously, that are happening because guess who's pursuing them into the jungle? The Red Death, because Shiva knows.
That's pretty creepy.
Yeah. And so there are all these terrifying things that happen in the jungle.
What's Tash doing these right now?
He's just protecting Shiva.
Okay.
He's sitting there with him. Yeah. Because you're going to have your final showdown between them, right? And so they get to the point where they get to the sword, and they find the sword. He knows they have to get back with the sword, and things are getting urgent because it's just, it's the novel, and it has to intensify as the novel goes on. So everybody knows that. Yeah, and so the old man actually ends up having to sacrifice himself with the Red Death so that Tyrion and Trumpkin can go back and have the final showdown with Shiva and Tash.
The old man takes out the Red Death?
No, I don't know how that happens. But he distracts the Red Death so that Tyrion and Trumpkin can go. All right.
Mm-hmm. The Red Death is still at large.
Yeah, the Red Death is still at large.
Okay.
It's a mystery. You don't really know. It's like a lot of things that happen in that world. Right. There's possibilities, multiple possibilities, multiplicities of possibilities.
Sure.
But what we do know is that probably the Red Death is like pursuing the old man this time instead of the old man pursuing the Marlin. Mm-hmm. It's the Red Death pursuing the old man.
Oh, wow.
Right.
I hope the Red Death has more luck than the old man.
Something like that. Anyways, but you get the idea,
I do.
Right? So then it all sets the stage so that they can come back and they can have their final showdown with Tash and Shiva, and it's going to be intense, and it's going to be worthwhile. And Tyrion, you're going to have the question, is Tyrion going to do it? Maybe there'll be some ups and downs. But finally, obviously, Tyrion will win.
How does he win?
I don't know how he wins. He has the sword.
So he uses Peter's sword to...
Yes. Well, what you find out is that it was never about the sword. It was just about the boy believing he could do it. And Shiva runs at him, and then he falls on him after he howls. And then he falls on the sword.
There you go. What about Tash and the Red Death?
They disappear as soon as Shiva's dead.
Okay. There you
I don't know. I didn't figure out all the ending, but somehow he wins. And that's how you bring it all together. It sounded, the ending's got to be worked out some.
Well, what do you think, Jake? Lots of exciting action scenes, and
it sounds wild,
daring,
crazy, and interesting.
Yeah, colorful. And the title?
Oh, you would ask. This is the part that I was having the most trouble. Was the ending?
Paul Plart.
The ending to the thing, bringing it all together, because I wanted to somehow work in, like, maybe the bell had to be destroyed, maybe it was the looking glass that had to be destroyed. You might want to pull in some Chekhov's gun like that.
Sure,
that would be fun, and that actually helps defeat and send Tash. Maybe that's it. You have to destroy the bell, and that sends Tash and the Red Death back to where they are. Mm-hmm. And so, like, that wouldn't be bad, because right at the last minute, the Red Death's about to kill the old man. Tash is about to kill Trumpkin. Mm-hmm. And then he realizes, no, it's the bell all along. And he slashes the bell, and they both disappear. And then he stabs Shiva or something. Who knows? Something like that.
Okay. So we need a title.
I know. I'm trying to delay because I don't know a title. The Bell and the Looking Glass.
The Looking Glass did play such a big part in the story.
Through the Looking Glass. Part 2.
So there we go. Through the Looking Glass, Part 2.
That's what it is.
I'm writing it down. All right, Jake.
All right. So this is really the story of how Prince Hal became man enough to be King Henry V.
Interesting.
This is the untold story of how it all happened.
Love it.
In the Willows.
Yeah. Well, so what happened is you have 3 groups of people all setting out on different adventures for different reasons at the same time. Henry and his good pal Wentworth are out to seek adventure and fortune before Hal has the responsibilities of the kingship placed upon him. They're out on the high seas when a green mist rises. Edmund and Frank are on the River Thames, going to London, chilling, talking Narnia, hanging out. A green mist rises. Caspian, Petalglum, and Dr. Cornelius have gotten a hold of the Book of Incantations from the Lonely Isles and have used... Dr. Cornelius has discovered this spell for seeking hidden treasure.
Okay.
And so they're out on the high seas seeking hidden treasure with that spell. a green mist rises.
And it's the Joker.
And so suddenly all of these people on their various adventures find themselves in this mysterious, creepy place.
Yeah.
With these willow trees and these forces seemingly out to get them. They are seemingly passing other ships, other boats in the night. It's all weird and wild and what's the word I want? Uncanny.
Uncanny, yes. That's
very
the word.
uncanny. Eventually they all land on different parts of the same island. They try to get to the center of the island so that they can see what's going on around them. They meet. They think each other are enemies. They end up making friends. We don't need to spend a lot of time going through how that all happens.
Who are all the protagonists that are together now?
So now Henry and his buddy Wentworth have met Edmund and Frank and Caspian and Puddleglum and Dr. Cornelius, and they're all there.
Cool.
And now they all know
Murderers Row there.
They've been brought there somehow by some mysterious force that is malevolent and out to get them, and they don't know what to do. They pull out Dr. Cornelius's spell book, and they try to roll back the mist because there are spells for controlling the weather in that book of incantations, which are mentioned specifically. And so they try to roll back the mist, and when they do, they see two figures.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
But just as quickly, the mist goes back out, and the river freezes over.
Oh, it's terrifying.
And so it's the witches.
Mm-hmm.
The witches use the rings to bring them all there and destroy them. Shenanigans ensue. There are weather battles, stone, mist, powder, spells, swords, fights. Finally, when all seems lost, Dr. Cornelius remembers the spell to reveal things unseen. And then when he casts that spell, the mist vanishes, the witches are there. And then the gods and monsters of the willows come out and they eat the witches.
Yes.
And destroy them.
They get to be good guys.
And the sacrifice is made.
Yep.
Our heroes are allowed to pass through. Hal goes back to England, a changed man, never the same, ready to assume the throne.
Wow.
That's good.
It's the missing link in Hal's story.
Yeah.
We needed a cartoon show to make psychological sense
of Shakespeare's
emotional
crap.
sense of Hal's journey.
Somebody finally took that garbage.
I like how you made that all fit with the willows pretty nicely. That's
it's like
well
it's the Clone Wars of.
I like the twist with the rings and the
yeah. Brandon, I'm I might be voting for Jake's.
You might be
so far.
Oh, come on!
And the title?
It was going to be of some version of Gods and Men or Gods and Monsters or Monsters and Men, something like that.
Witches and Willows?
Witches.
The Witch and the Willow?
The Witch and the Willows. Yeah, let's roll with it.
The Witch and the Willows.
The Witch and the Willows. All right, there we go. So we got Through the Looking Glass Part 2 or The Witch and the Willows. All right, are you guys ready for my awesome novel here? All right. Mine is in the genre of teacher stories. Like Dead Poets Society, those kinds of stories where a tough teacher has to get control of a bunch of...
the teacher Shredney Vashtar?
No, the teacher would be young Jane Eyre, who just got her teaching license, and she goes to teach at the horrible progressive school from Silver Chair. Her students, a murderer's row of unruly brats. Holden Caulfield, a surly teenager who just doesn't care. Susan, a bratty girl only interested in nylons. Eustace, a stuffy, bratty know-it-all. Conradin, a weirdo with a pulled cat named Shredney Vashtar that he worships. And Jane Eyre does not know what to do. She is up to her neck. She's like, this is bad news. She does not know how to control this classroom. They are walking all over her. And the only students that she likes are Peter and Lucy. They are good students. But Jane Eyre is just completely overwhelmed. She had her techniques, but they don't really seem to be working. And she finds herself kind of falling in love with Holden, who's just the kind of damaged,
no, she doesn't.
Damaged weirdo that. Now Holden, he's like 18 or something. Well, but she's just like, yeah, this guy's like dark and emo, and this is the kind of guy I like, and we could both have the same thoughts and stuff like this. So, but Holden couldn't care less because he just thinks Jane Eyre is a phony, right?
Yeah, of course.
One day, Conradin bands together with Susan, Eustace, and Holden to drive Eyre out of the school. They release Shredni Vashtar. It chases Jane Eyre through the school, attempting to kill her with its godlike polecat powers. And it actually gets her by the throat and rips out Jane Eyre's throat.
Whoa.
And Peter's like, I need my sword, but he doesn't have one.
Yeah.
But fortunately, there is this weird disappearing Cheshire cat that is always everything but its smile will disappear, and then its smile will disappear. That's known to kind of haunt the schoolyard. So Peter grabs Shredni Vashtar and throws him into the Cheshire cat's mouth just as the cat is disappearing. And so it's like Avengers, where Doctor Strange will make like the portals and then it'll disappear and it'll cut the guy in half. So Shredni Vashtar is defeated, splattering blood on everybody. Jane Eyre dying, her throat's been ripped out by a polecat. Lucy, fortunately, has her magic vial, which she uses to heal Jane Eyre. And this gets the attention of none other than the great lion himself, Aslan. And so Aslan is watching from Aslan's country, and he sees Jane, and she's covered in polecat blood, and there's all the students are covered in polecat blood, and they're all making fun of her. And Aslan's just like, we've got to get this school under control. Who can I send to help Jane Eyre out? And none other than Reepicheep, the mouse. And so this is where things break down a little bit.
This is where they break down.
I know you guys.
I was with you 100% up till now.
So Aslan transports Reepicheep there, and he's like, Madam, what are these ruffians doing? And Jane Eyre's like, I can't maintain control. I thought I was cool, but really I'm just an idiot that falls in love with emo guys, and I don't know how to do this. So
Rochester's Holden Caulfield.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
So Reepicheep basically solves the problem at that point. He like imposes discipline. He takes all those kids, he gives them mouse sword spankings, and this is like, this is no more Mr. Nice Mouse. He was no more Miss, I don't know, whatever. Reepicheep solves the problem. So let's see.
Does he like become principal of the school or something?
Yeah, he becomes principal of Reepicheep becomes principal of the school. That's right. And so he basically reforms all the kids that are reformable, imposes lots of good discipline. And so Conradin comes around, stops worshiping polecats. Eustace becomes a great guy. Lucy was already fine. Susan stops being interested in nylons. She's just a cool, regular girl. But Holden, Jane Eyre still kind of has a thing for him. And Holden hasn't been redeemed. Holden's just like, he's not going to listen to any mouse, let any mouse discipline him. And Holden kind of has a thing for Susan because he likes nylons. So he kidnaps Susan and drags her through a door as Susan blows her horn, and Holden finds himself in Aslan's country. Plus Susan blew the horn, so Reepicheep appears and stabs Holden, and Holden falls off that big cliff into the waiting maw of Aslan. Jane Eyre returns to school as the teacher. Reepicheep is the principal. All the students are sweet, obedient, good students. The school is reformed. Any of those other bullies that were in the school are also reformed. So it's a great school, wonderful place. Peter actually slips into Narnia, grows up into an age-appropriate mate for Jane Eyre, comes back, she marries him, and he does not share one mind with her. They have different thoughts, and Peter's like, don't be so weird and emo and clingy, Jane Eyre. It's fine, and she becomes a better woman than she was. and a great teacher and a great friend. And
and a great friend. Keep laying it on.
And so, as Tiny Tim observed,
bless us, everyone.
And the book is called To Err is Human.
Oh boy.
So
I don't know how they're going to choose.
I don't know, guys. I think To Err is Human sounds like a pretty cool book.
So they have one thrown together.
They have the epic fantasy that is Through the Looking Glass Part 2.
They have the story that actually kind of fits and makes sense, which is
The Witch in the Willows.
The Witch in the Willows. Yeah, somebody actually played the game to win.
They have the masterpiece of social satire.
Yeah.
That is To Err is Human.
Yeah.
No, I think so. My first idea was I want Jane Eyre because I'd love to have her marry almost anybody but Rochester, because she seems like a nice lady, but she really just needs a better man. Forgot about St. John. I probably could have done something with him for this story, but
yeah, I had him on my list, but there was no way there was going to be enough.
Yeah, it would have been good to just make him the villain that he always was. And then I thought, well, we've got all these bratty kids. Let's do one of those like Dead Poets Society, whatever the name for that kind of story is. The cliched teacher coach.
Yeah, the coach comes in and cleans house.
Yeah, and then I thought
he starts disciplining the players, and suddenly they become a good team. And
yeah, and then I thought that it would be fun I just thought that Reepicheep and Jane Eyre would make a good team one way or another.
Well played.
So that was my inspiration. So folks, you decide. When this episode posts, you can go to our Twitter. It's @thebookening.
We need to each make a closing argument maybe for our thing.
Okay, Brandon?
Oh, for my story?
Mm-hmm. Through the Looking Glass Part 2.
Through the Looking Glass Part 2. Hey, there are still parts of it that are in process, but overall, it's a story that sounds exciting. It brings the pieces together in a way that's engaging and interesting. You question that, Nathan?
No, I'll make an argument for Brandon's story. It sounds like a lot of fun. It's got great action scenes, arguably the coolest action set pieces of any of the stories.
And we'll work out the whole bell and the ending. We're going to make it all fit together. It's going to be great.
It's a very first draft, very rough draft of a story, but I think it's got potential.
Yeah, I don't want to downplay it. It sounds fun.
We'll see if Through the Looking Glass Part 2, how many votes it gets. Jake, The Witch in the Willows.
I asked for closing arguments. I don't really have one. Mine's a story that's complete, has a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Big deal.
All of the parts that you would want in a story. It's got really uninteresting, colorful characters that we get to live with for a while. I think Henry and Wentworth are a cool combination.
Mm-hmm.
Wentworth is straight guy. Hal, young, playful, adventure-seeking. Edmund and Frank the cabbie would make a fun team. Caspian and Dr. Cornelius are already a fun team, with Dr. Cornelius being colorful and, insecure and a half-dwarf or whatever. But then you put Puddleglum in the mix, and Puddleglum reacting to absolutely everything that's happening the way that Puddleglum would. So you get to start them all separately as 3 separate teams. They get to come together and form a super team. They get to have epic battles of magic and swords and powder and
powder
stone. Well, the powder that the witch has, and the stone turning things to stone, and the weather stuff in the spell book. Then creepy gods and monsters that have been there the whole time get to come out and eat the witches, and probably some people die or turn to stone in the process. But at the end of the day, Hal goes back to England as Henry, and so we have a pretty complete hero's journey.
Yeah.
Story.
That is a good story.
Jake's story sounds cool. I cannot deny it.
Sounds like a good story.
But is it as good as To Err is Human? So my argument for my story is that I am effectively giving several characters the closure that they actually need. I am redeeming Susan through Principal Reepicheep's discipline. I am giving Jane Eyre a worthy husband. I am Now, I defended Holden Caulfield, if you'll remember, but I am throwing Holden Caulfield
into Aslan's Maw.
Into Aslan's Maw.
Yeah, where he belongs.
I am rectifying the wrongs of this entire year.
You're basically just Quentin Tarantino.
Yes, I am. I am rewriting history so that everybody gets their just desserts. Reepicheep gets to
Brett McCracken would be proud.
Brett McCracken would be proud. Reepicheep gets to be the principal of a school, which I think is the perfect job for Reepicheep.
Yeah, it really is.
and we're redeeming Conrad, and he doesn't have to live with his stupid dead aunt.
Shredney Vashtar dies a bloody death.
Yeah, Shredney Vashtar gets killed by the Cheshire Cat. Peter still gets to be cool. Lucy still gets to be cool. We'll put in some more tender moments with Lucy and Peter. I didn't get to really flesh them out.
What cool thing did Lucy do?
Well, Jane Eyre's throat was ripped out by Shredney Vashtar.
Yeah.
She saved her. Saved the throat. Save the throat!
Yeah. And I don't think people shouldn't downplay all the amazing things that come out of Tyrion and the Old Man and the Sea's relationship. Oh, man.
All right, folks. So, Through the Looking Glass Part 2, that's by Brandon Chastain, The Witch in the Willows by Jake Menzel, or To Err is Human by Nathan Alberson. You will have a Twitter poll that you can go to the day that this is released. Our Twitter handle is @thebookening. There will also be an Instagram poll
of some sort,
of some sort, probably in our story.
That's right.
And you can vote there, Instagram @thebookening.
Yeah, we'll just say it now. It'll be in our story because
Yeah.
we can do polls on the story.
Exactly. We will tally the votes and we will see what story people would actually want to be written. And then that person will have to write their...
So the story only lasts 24 hours. So how about we'll drop it at noon on Wednesday of the release of the episode?
No, we got to give people more time to listen.
Why don't we have both the polls come
Friday? There we go.
After this episode drops.
So Friday morning, you'll see the story go up.
Yep, and you can vote for Through the Looking Glass Part 2, The Witch in the Willows, or Modern Classic, To Err.
Doesn't matter what time on Friday morning.
Human.
We're just going to sometime Friday morning.
They'll both go up on noon. How about?
Noon.
You and me will have to
there we
coordinate
go.
on
So
this.
by midnight Friday, by noon Saturday,
right,
the story will be done. There we go.
Yep.
And I think polls on Twitter last 24 hours as well. So you'll have 24 hours to vote.
I know that, you guys will do what's right, and you'll vote for Through the Looking Glass Part 2.
I think The Witch in the Willows might be winning. I think it might win. I think The Err is Human might have a chance, but I'm not not too much hope for Through the Looking Glass Part 2. But you never know. People are fickle.
Yeah. You think that Through the Looking Glass Part 2 has less of a chance than
The Err is Human?
Yeah.
Well, maybe this is just a...
I think that might just be bias there speaking, Nathan.
This might be bias. I will fully admit it, but I feel like To Err is Human just has enough individual scenes that people might want to see.
I think you could make the same claim for Through the Looking Glass Part 2 there, buddy.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I'm hoping.
They have some amazing magical scenes.
Yeah. Which one would I actually want to sit through? Well, let me not influence the listener, but it might be The Witch in the Willows. But come on, folks. You want To Err is Human.
Yeah.
It's a noble sentiment. All right. We'll be back next week with Christmas stories, I think.
Yeah.
But why don't we do some donor shout-outs first?
Sounds good.
So let me just pull those up. And folks, you are going to get to vote on these things. I don't know where. What's the best forum for these people to vote? Should it be like a Twitter hashtag or a Facebook thing? Or we make them follow our Instagram, maybe?
What do we want them following? All of those, right?
Yeah. Well, we don't really have a Bookening Facebook, but we'll do Twitter and Instagram.
We do have an Instagram and we do have a Twitter.
Yeah. So we'll figure out a way to do those and we will announce it by the end of the episode, folks. Why don't we shout out some people? I will say the initials and you guys have to guess the name.
Okay.
First to guess it gets a point.
There we go. That's a gimmick.
We'll see who wins.
Look at that. You're a gimmicky guy.
RRTL.
Robert and Ron to the Lovebirds.
Point for Brandon. AAD.
Artful Anthony Dodger.
Point for Jake. LACS. Little Anthony Cigar Store. Point for Nathan.
Of course.
You can't give yourself points.
If neither one of you can guess it, I get a point. ICE.
The incandescent. The immortal Chelsea E.
Point for Brandon. JBALAO.
Jim Beam and Little Annie Oakley.
Point for Jake. LOTV.
Lily of the Valley.
Lily of the Valley.
Point for Jake. Nicely done. AAETL.
AAETL. Andrew and Esther, the Lovebird.
That's right. Point for Brandon. I was hoping for a point there. 3-3 and 1 point for Nathan right now. TK.
The Keith Master.
Right on the tip of my tongue.
Point for Brandon. DMMT.
Dave's Money Man
Trucking.
Trucking.
That'd be Brandon.
Oh, wow.
JAJ.
Jay and Katie who are cold and love cheese.
Nope. JAJALBM.
Jeremy, the Dark Hooded. No.
JAJALBM.
And
Nope.
John and Jill and Little Baby Max.
Yep. JAKW.
Jay and Katie who are cold and love cheese. Should be allowed
And
to talk it out.
C.S. Lewis, including C.S. Lewis, is Till We Have Faces.
I haven't heard anyone say the whole thing yet.
Jay and Katie who are cold and love cheese and C.S. Lewis, including Till We Have Faces.
Jake. FPOWAHMB.
What?
FPOWAHMB.
Fair.
Fairy Princess of Wonder and Happiness, Mother Beth. Point for Nathan.
Oh, Nathan.
CPA.
Console Prime Adam.
Point for
Certified
Jake.
Public Accountant.
Also that. JTDHLODADP.
Jeremy, the Dark Hooded Lord of Death.
Yes, sir.
And Baby Dum Doom Die.
And
Jeremy, the Dark Hooded Lord of Death.
and
I'm not going to make you guys say
Bear and Princess of Death Doom Die.
that. And
Bug, the Princess of Death Doom Die.
close.
I get that point. I got more of it than he did.
I'll give you guys both a point. How about that?
That doesn't work.
Because Brandon actually got it first, but you kind of did the thing, but not really. NNM.
Nathan, not me.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's doing
It's
pretty well.
N. Come on. Nathan, not Nathan.
It's NNM to me. M!
And
Maya!
Maya!
I don't know who said that first. Was that Jake?
I got the
You
thing
started
right,
it first,
though.
right?
I got
Yeah.
the thing right.
Yeah, okay.
He just said Maya.
RTRAAJ.
Rock and Ryan and
LOJ.
Rock and Ryan and Judo.
You got to get it right.
Ryan the Red Avenger and Judith of the Ladies of Justice.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Nicely done. Oh, Jake's catching up.
Well
In fact,
done, Jake.
You guys,
Big deal.
you guys are tied. It's neck and neck, folks. Man, the listeners must be so excited. DTD. DTD.
Danny the Dude.
Oh, the dude.
Oh, Jake's pulling ahead.
That's cheating. That's cheating.
I did it for M.
Maya.
No, yeah, we already did it.
Oh.
DJSG.
DJ Simigi.
Jake again. Brandon, you're falling down on the job here. DADT. I'm sorry. BADT.
Ben and Benny.
Benny and Dana Tiberius.
Jake. EAKFYWB.
Eric and Catherine from Yon Window Break.
Brandon, point for you. PALX.
Professor and Lady X.
Oh, yeah.
LGDD.
LG.
LLGDD.
Oh, Lavender's
Lavender's
Green.
Green,
Dylan.
Dylan. Yeah. Lavender's Blue.
NC.
Lavender's Green.
NC.
Getting into the new ones here. NC. Point for Nathan. Noah Constrictor.
Oh, yeah, no, Constrictor.
I might be able to clean up with these last ones. M.
Maricheap.
Very nice, Brandon. TFAFMC.
The Fair and Fragrant Maiden Chloe.
Very good. Point for Jake. SPZWAMAAKWAKFLDTS.
What?
You guys know this. This is a class. This is one of my favorites. SPZWAMAAKWAKFLDTS.
SPZ.
I don't know.
Six Pack Zach with the mean attack and Catherine with the knack for laying down the smack. Come on.
We're so sorry, Six Pack Zach.
Point for Nathan. AWICAHLLATPOC. AWICAHLLATPOC.
Wait, AW.
AWICAHLLATPOC. That'd be Anthony, who's cold and hates life, liberty, and the pursuit of cheese.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Should have got that one, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah.
JJTTR.
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 Jaguar Tank.
Nope. Nice guess, kind of.
JJTR.
JJTR. I'm sorry. JJTTR.
JJTTR.
I'll give you a hint. JJ the TR.
Johnny Juice, the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Close. Jiu-Jitsu Jeffrey the Texas Ranger.
Oh.
I'm catching up, guys. R.
Rachel.
It's a point for Jake. I think Jake's probably going to win. LTT.
The Lord of the Rings.
Nope.
LTT.
The tank.
Leopard Tank Thomas.
Leopard Tank Thomas.
Nicely done, Brandon.
Man.
You are within range of Jake right now,
Good.
but you've got to get the next few. MNE.
Midnight.
That first word is correct. MNE.
Natalie. Natasha.
Nope.
Nicole. Midnight.
Point for Nathan. Midnight Ninja Ellen. QC.
Queen Congetta.
Queen Kongetta, yeah.
Jake gets the point. And ROTJ.
Return of the Jedediah.
Very nice. Jake wins with, let me see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 points.
Whoa.
Brandon comes in second with 12, and I got like 5 or 6.
Man, Nathan, you need to do better next time.
Yeah. My name is Nathan. That's Brandon. That's Jake. It's been our pleasure to engage in this fantasy draft. Go to patreon.com/the Bookening.
To help us get to the year of Tolkien.
We're running out of time. That's right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.